And once it's close to being cooked, once you have no more red meat on there, is when you throw in your onions, and then you just keep doing that all together till the onions are caramelized and your meat is cooked. Hey my future saints, I'm Ellie, and welcome back to One World Saints, where we learn about the saints while discovering new flavors. I'm so glad to be back recording. I feel like it's been a while that I've recorded a few videos for you guys, but I'm glad to be back at it. There's a lot that's been going on in, I think, all over our news, and I'm sure you really can't escape it. It's everywhere. But today we're going to talk about a saint very, very special. At least I think it's very special. This one is a little more hitting more towards home at the moment, what's going on in our world, in our country. So I think that this saint is going to be great for us to really reflect on what this saint stands for, and it can be an example to set for the future to be. Okay, so we are here with our ingredients for our recipe for tonight. Like I say in every episode, it depends on your preferences. I chose these to my preferences, but it's just like any in cooking, you can make it your own. So we are going to be doing tonight a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. So we have our regular beef. I chose just regular beef chunks, but you can do the ribeye steak. That is what they usually use. But like I said, own preferences. As well, we're going to be having cheese. This is provolone cheese, but you can use cheddar cheese, any cheese that you wish. Provolone is what they use. American cheese, mozzarella cheese. You know, there's infinity cheeses out there, so you can choose to your own preferences. As well, we're going to be using oil to cook. This is extra virgin olive oil. Any oil works as well. I have some rolls here that I chose. These are my favorite type of rolls, but any rolls that you like would work as well. As well with the meat, I'm going to be using some onion. Normally, or additionally, better say, it also comes with bell peppers, mushrooms. I didn't really want to go that extra tonight, and we're just going to keep it pretty simple, just using onions. A couple of seasoning, our usual salt and pepper, and some simple mayo. The mayo can also be up to your own preference. If you like adding garlic, we can have a garlic type of mayo, as well as other type of mayos that you can make. Okay, so we have our ingredients now. We're gonna get to the cooking of the meat specifically, which is the one that's gonna take majority of your time. So you get yourself a pot, a pan, something shallow that can you can put your meat. So I already have the oil inside. Now you put your meat on it. And this is where you add your seasoning. Some pepper. Salt. I add a little more salt with garlic. And some chili powder. And you just want to continue stirring it until you can fry it a bit. And once it's close to being cooked, once you have no more red meat on there, is when you throw in your onions, and then you just keep doing that all together till the onions are caramelized and your meat is cooked. Okay, so as we are waiting for the meat to be cooking, we are gonna continue and talk about our saint for tonight. So this is a saint, like I told you guys, very, very special. And the reason why this person is very special and why this person is gonna be such a great image that we can keep in our minds right now, that we're going through all these this election, all these things that are happening in our country, and why it's so important, why this saint is very important for this type of topic. And this saint is Saint Katharine of Drexel. She was born in Philadelphia. So reason why we are doing Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. And she is one of the second American-born saints. And I think that's pretty awesome since we are in the USA. And okay, so let me get to the basics of her. She was born into a family that's very, very wealthy. She, at such a, like 5 weeks in, Katharine wasn't even a year yet. Katharine, at such a very young age, she lost her mom. So she lost her mom, and not so long after, her dad remarried. So keep in mind, she's a wealthy girl. She lost her mom at a very young age. Her dad remarries, and they have another child, so she has a sister now. And they're growing up. But the one thing that, okay, so, and we see this all over any social media where you see a rich girl, and what do we think of rich young girls? Automatically being spoiled, automatically just wanting the best of everything. And we see this, and sometimes, I mean, you gotta admit it to yourself, sometimes that is what we want as well. We wanna be rich, and we want to just have everything that's good and the best things. And I'm sure she had that too. But what we have to what was special about her is that the money, the wealth, it never went to her head. She never like went crazy about it per se. She understood that she had money, but she never let that become the best of her. She didn't let that be the ruler of her life. She watched her father every night for about 30 minutes praying. So besides being wealthy, they were also very strong in their faith. So they were wealthy and they were good in their faith, which is something surprising to see, because sometimes we make many of these celebrities that have so much money, and other people that are wealthy, they don't necessarily put God into the equation. But this girl, Katharine, she did. She was wealthy, but she kept her faith with her family, and because she never let money be such the ruler of her family, which I think was extraordinary, is that they decided to use the wealth that they had to contribute to the poor. So many times her stepmom would invite people of the community that was around her that weren't wealthy to come over, and she would give them money for rent if they needed money for the rent. They would give them food, shelter. They would offer all these things to those that didn't have money, specifically the Native Americans and the African Americans that were near them. So she would offer all these things, and she saw this, and she kept, continued to make these better changes and not let money rule her. So as we see, there's still water at the bottom of the pot, and we're just waiting for that to finish. As soon as that happens, we can add our onions, and then we are closing it clear to finishing up the meat. All right, so she's wealthy and she doesn't let it get to her, and that's surprising. And that's how I think we should strive to do. We should definitely strive to be successful and have money, but don't let that money just so that you can buy whatever you want. But on the contrary, use that money to help others. And I think that's just great, because we don't see much of that in our celebrities nowadays. We don't see that much in the wealthy people that are portrayed in our social medias. We don't see much of that. And I think that is something that we can see in her. And that's great. On a different note, she decided that she wanted to join the order. She wanted to be a sister. So she decided to join the ministry, and she did. Okay, so as we see, we don't have any more of that liquid. It's just the oil. And this is when you come in and you add your onion. At this moment, it's also when you want to add your mushrooms, or you want to add your bell peppers, so that majority of it is just for the cooking of the peppers as well. So we're just going to wait for the onions to basically caramelize. And then from there, we're going to add our cheese right on top so that it can melt. And we are ready for preparing our sandwiches. So now we're just gonna add the cheese right on top. If you can see, everything is pretty much cooked. Your onions are cooked, and if you had added the mushrooms and your bell peppers, they should have been cooked as well. So now you just want to spread it out evenly across it, because you are gonna basically cover it in some cheese. So we're using the one I said, provolone, but if you use any of your other cheeses, you can put it right on top. And the reason for this is easier. It's already melted in there. You just put it on your sandwich and it makes life way easier instead of having it melted in your sandwich. So you just put them right on top. You cover it as much as you like. And there you go. You just wait until it is melty, and as soon as that is, you are ready to put it in your sandwich. Okay, and I know I didn't mention this at the beginning, but it should be to low to medium heat. You don't want this in super high heat where you're gonna end up burning the steak faster than it cooks properly. So just low to medium heat, and keep stirring it as much as possible. Don't just leave it there. It's gonna end up burning on one side and then the other side is gonna still be raw. So just watch that out, and as soon as you see the little bubbles that it is forming now from the cheese melting, then that is a sign that you are doing the correct thing. And as soon as that is completely melted, you are ready to make your sandwiches. All right, so now we are right here in your time to construct your sandwich. So like I said, like I told you guys at the beginning, I'm using regular mayo. It's up to your own preference on if you want to make your own mayo, you want to add more stuff to your mayo, completely up to you. So this is the rest. So we're just gonna spread the mayo to the sandwich, and once we have that, we add our mixture of the cheese with the onions and the beef. And if you had the other mushrooms, if you had other bell peppers, then that's when it will be as well. And as well, if you want to add maybe some greens to it at the end, some tomato, you are more than welcome to add that as well. Once again, it is your own canvas to create. So we're gonna spread our mayo just like I told you guys, and like I said, this one is up to your own preference, how much mayo you like, how little mayo you like. I like mayo. So we're gonna put a generous amount of mayo to both sides of the sandwich. It's fairly simple. And that's the good part of this sandwich. And it is perfect for if you're gonna have any gatherings, if you're gonna have anything with your friends, if you're gonna, maybe for next summer, you wanna go out and maybe to the park and be able to create these sandwiches. This is perfect time to do so. Okay, and once you put your mayo, you come in with your beef, with your cheese. You add some lettuce on top, you add some tomatoes on top. I don't really like tomatoes or lettuce, but it's your own preference. And there you go. This is a very simple recipe. And you would just put that. You can add maybe a dressing on top. You can add some ketchup. You can add so many things. Once again, this is literally the start of it, and you make it your own as you like. So here is your Philly cheesesteak sandwich. And there you go. All right, so we have our final. We have our Philly cheese steak sandwich, and that is pretty much on the sandwich itself. We went through it. But just on our ending notes for tonight, Katharine Drexel. Learning about her was such a great experience to understand that someone that had so much power, in a sense of they had so much wealth, didn't let that go to their head, but on the contrary, was able to give back to the community, you know, help the Native Americans that were with her, that were around her, the African Americans, and give them something that other people probably wouldn't even think twice of, a person that had like the amount of money as her. So I think that's just a great thing to recognize. And I'm not saying that because we aren't rich, then that means we can't help the people around us. But even with the simple things that we have, we should help them with giving them that dollar that we may have and someone else is asking for it. We have that dollar, let's give it to them with the greatest goodness of our heart. Katharine, throughout, because of her wealth, she was able to create so many schools and was able to create different orders and missions for the Native Americans to be able to travel and go around Europe and the US to be able to spread the faith. And we have also those resources. Maybe we don't have the exact money, but we have those things as well. And if we are able to, let's take the chance to do so. Let's help our neighbor. Let's be there for everyone who's around us, even if we don't look the same, even if we have different beliefs. It's okay. You know, let's be the bigger person and be there for that person. And especially during these times right now, during these times of quarantine, during this time of the election that just happened, that, you know, it causes so much, you know, maybe disruptive between families, it comes between friends. Let's put that aside and recognize that we are both human beings, and recognize that we have one God who loves us above everything. And if we're able to put all that aside, then we can grow that same heart of Katharine and help those around us, and be able to create so many big things for those who maybe another person wouldn't even give them a second glance because of how they look or what they believe in. So my take from this, and what I want you guys to take from this, is let's put everything aside and remember that God loves us, and be able to share his faith above all, and share his love and his compassion that Katharine shared with all those who were around her, no matter who they were. Same way, let's do that as well. So you guys are able to do more research on her, and that would be great. Learn about her story, learn about who she is, learn about all the different orders that she did, all the missions. And if you're able to maybe assist one of those missions, that would be wonderful. So stay safe, stay happy, and I'll catch you on the next.